yogis. Thank you so much for joining me tonight to do some yoga. Prompts are optional for this class, but might be really nice. I've put them here at the end of my mat, so as you start to get situated, if you happen to have these things easily accessible around you, you can absolutely grab them. If you have a yoga bolster or a pillow, any bedroom pillow, couch cushion, it doesn't have to be super firm today. It can be any kind of cushion that's approximately this shape and size. If you have really squashy bed pillows, you can always just stack two of them together. And if you also happen to have a blanket, that might be really nice. Everything we're doing you can also do without any props at all, so don't worry if you don't have stuff at hand. This just makes it a little more relaxing and kind of a little more yummy, really. It's honestly what it is. So if you happen to have a blanket and or a couple pillows or a bolster, you can use one, the other, both if you have them. You can just set them over to the side of your mat somewhere. You don't need them just yet. And then what we're going to do tonight is a little bit gentle and slow and stretchy. This is the kind of class, I call it after work, and it constantly kind of evolves and varies as I feel really, tired after work. Your body's desire is to go and sit on the couch and just go, huh. But your mind and maybe a little part of your body knows, oh, but if I just moved my body, if I just did something, I feel so much better. And this is right in the middle of lying on the couch and doing exercise to make yourself feel better. It's like lying on the couch, but also exercising your body a little bit so that you feel like you've accomplished some exercise, some workout in your day, but you also feel relaxed and like your energy has not been used up. So hopefully at the end you feel very relaxed, but with enough left for the rest of your day. When you're ready, go ahead and come to lie down on your back. And as you lie down on your back, you can have your knees in, or you can have your legs long if that feels better. It doesn't matter. You can even draw your knees into your chest if you need to. Let your arms flop out to the side somewhere comfortable. Close your eyes and just let go. Let go of your whole day, whatever happened this afternoon, at lunch, this morning. Take a deep breath in. And as you breathe out, release all of that stuff. And as you release all of that stuff, you feel that the tension that might have sat in your shoulders during the day is melting. That tightness that might have sat at the center of your chest if you had a worrisome day, that's starting to kind of just relax and unwind a little bit. Your belly is starting to let go of any clenching or holding that it's been doing. Your arms and your legs grow pleasantly heavy. You just allow yourself to be here without doing anything. And it sometimes can feel when you're not doing anything that you are being lazy or you're wasting time. And I am here to assure you that, especially right now, that is absolutely not the case. This focused relaxation and rest is absolutely doing something. You're doing something really beneficial for your physical body, your emotional body, your mental body. I'm calling them all bodies today. For all of those parts of yourself. When you let yourself rest, you can do so much more than if you push through fatigue, tiredness, anxiety, stress. And it doesn't take a lot, just 5 minutes of lying here, focused on not doing anything, just breathing, just staying comfortable. If you need to make adjustments, you do. Your body starts to feel different. Think of it as going from an uncooked spaghetti, rigid, brittle. When you push on it, it could break so easily, to a cooked spaghetti. You're flexible, you're warm, you can twist and turn into all sorts of different shapes. You can be flexible. That's what this process of lying here for another minute or so is all about. If you're having a hard time becoming a nice al dente spaghetti, that's okay too. Sometimes relaxing is the hardest part. You do the best that you can. Some days it's so easy to melt, and by the end of this next 30 seconds you'd be practically asleep. And other days it's so difficult. And it's okay, whichever kind of day you're having. When you are ready, you're welcome to keep your eyes closed if that feels more comfortable. Simply going to draw the soles of your feet in, placing them on the floor so your knees are pointing up towards the ceiling. And then from there, hug your right knee in towards your chest. I always like to kind of scooch my hips down a little bit when I do that, so there's more space in my lower back, so don't hesitate to make adjustments if you need to. And just hug the right knee into the chest so you feel the right leg pressing against your belly. If the leg feels really far away to hold on to, you can always place a strap or a sweat sock or a belt over your shin or over the sole of your foot as you draw the knee in so that you have some support. You can also hold behind your thigh here. If you like, you can extend your left leg down to the bottom of the mat, and you can play with that placement in any of our next poses, left leg long or left knee tented. Go where you need to go. As you're ready, you might start to just take your right knee a little bit from side to side. Just feeling how your tailbone feels. And then take your right knee a little out towards your right armpit, turn the sole of your right foot up. You can hold your thigh, your calf, your ankle, or your foot. You can use a strap or a belt for any of those things as well. And guide your right thigh bone into your hip socket, little half happy baby. And all you want to feel here is that there's just some weight of the right thigh bone, drawing down and in, starting to stretch your hip flexors, your hip joint. And you can move here if it feels better. In and out with the foot, side to side. It really depends what feels really relaxing to your body. If it feels more relaxing to be totally still, quiet. If it feels better to have some gentle movement. When you're ready, you're going to take your right knee and cross it over to the left side of the body. Take your right arm out as a counterbalance and find a little bit of a twist. Your bottom knee could also be bent if you like. If you put your props too close, you can always slide them away. And again, this should just feel pleasantly stretchy in your lower back and your hips. If you turn to look to your right, you might feel a nice stretch across your chest as well. As you inhale, bring your right knee back to the center line. You're going to hug it in again. If you haven't already, extend your left leg out. Flex your left toes so they're pointing up towards the ceiling. This one requires just a little bit of effort. You want to hold on to your shin. Inhale here. And then as you exhale, kick your foot away from you and see if you can roll yourself up to seated. It's okay if you need to use your hands. place your right foot on the floor. Lift your arms up as you breathe in. And as you breathe out, twist over to your right. You can wrap your left arm around your right leg. You can take your left arm to the outside of your leg. Find this little twist here. Keep flexing your left toes up to the ceiling. Relax your shoulders. As you inhale, come back into the center line. You're going to take your right knee out to the side, draw the sole of your left foot in, so now the soles of your feet are together. Feel free to prop underneath your knees if that feels better for your body. Sit far enough away from your heels that you can sit straight and tall here as you breathe in. And as you breathe out, find a forward fold. Fingertips just walk forward. You can hold the feet if you like, or you can walk the hands out beyond them. Feel free to round a little bit, tucking your chin towards your chest. Lift your belly button towards your spine. And maybe walk your fingertips a little over towards your right knee. Doesn't matter how far they come, just until you feel a stretch along the left side of your torso. Again, relax a little bit into this. Soften. As you inhale, walk back to the center line. And as you exhale, walk the other way. So fingertips over to the left somewhere. A little stretch in the right side of your body. When you're ready, walk those fingertips back to the center line. Walk the hands in. Gather your knees in. And hold behind your thighs as you roll yourself all the way back down to the floor. Keep your belly button engaged and go slowly. Think about laying first down your tailbone, then your lower back, then the middle of your back, then your shoulder blades, and finally the back of your head. Draw your left knee in towards your chest and give it a nice big hug towards you. You can keep your right foot tented, or you can extend your right leg long. See what feels good to you. Relax your shoulder blades against the floor. And maybe you start to take that left knee a little side to side here. Next time you take the left knee maybe a little out to the side, you can turn the sole of your foot up, coming to your half happy baby. Both thigh, calf, ankle, foot itself. Use a belt, doesn't matter, as long as it feels stretchy at the inside of your hip. And again, you can move in your half happy baby. That might be exactly what your body needs. Or you can be really quite still and just hold the place that feels right. If you're not sure, you can try closing your eyes so that you are turning your attention even a little more into your body. Helps to become more aware of what's going on when you close your eyes. And when you're ready, you're going to take that left knee and cross it over to the right side. Again, feel free to adjust the angle or the bendiness of your knees. You can extend your left arm if you like. You can look to the left fingertips, adding a little more into the upper body in this twist. And once you get into the shape, let go a little bit again. Soft shoulders, relax your jaw. Feel the space between your eyebrows start to unfurl. And then inhale, bring that knee back to the center line. You're going to hug that left knee to the chest, holding onto the shin if you can. Flex those left toes, flex those right toes. You're holding onto your left knee. I may have gotten that confused. You're extending your right leg, so opposite side of last time. And then you're going to keep your foot away from you and see if you can, little momentum, rock yourself all the way up. Place the sole of the left foot down and twist over to your left. You can do what you like with the arm hugging or taking the arm to the outside of the knee for a lace. flex your right toes up to the sky. As you're ready, inhale, come back to the center line. A little bit different this time. You're going to extend both of your legs out in front of you. And just make sure that it's comfortable to sit on both of your sit bones and sit up tall. If it's not comfortable and you feel like you have to do this or the hamstrings are really tight, you could sit onto your blanket here, getting a little taller. That might fix it. Or you could take your blanket underneath your knees here. Oops, sitting on my fringe. And that might help if your hamstrings are tight. You can also do both things at the same time. So find a prop that allows you to sit here pretty comfortably straight and tall. And when you have that comfortable straight tall position, reach your arms up into the sky as you breathe in. And as you breathe out, fold forward. You're reaching over a giant imaginary beach ball that's just appeared in your lap towards your toes. You have to pull your belly button back, creating a little bit of a C-shaped curve with your spine. And when you can't possibly go any further, you drop your hands somewhere to your legs. Some people can hold their feet. And now you start to deflate the beach ball. And you just melt, melt, melt until you feel a really nice stretch in this forward fold. It is irrelevant how far forward you go. If you are tight of hip and tight of hamstring, you might be folding forward a couple of inches. That is completely fine. Don't hesitate to soften your knees if you feel a lot of tension at the back of the leg. This is Paschimottanasana, or intense back stretch. And it's just stretching everything at the back side of you. And it is quite intense. Let's see if you can take another deep breath. And then walk your fingertips in towards you. Roll your shoulders away from your ears. Walk your hands now a little bit behind your shoulders. Bring the soles of your feet again in. Feet a little wider than your own hips. Lift the center of your chest as you inhale. And as you exhale, take your knees to one side. Inhale, come to the center line. Exhale, go to the other side. And you just move a few times side to side here. As you move your knees side to side, see if your heart, the center of your chest, can stay facing the front center of your mat. So you're not turning side to side with your shoulders. The shoulders are isolated as much as possible from the movement of the knees and the hips. You might start to feel the area around your belly button a little more. If you need to adjust your feet because they slide out, feel free to do so, and we'll do a couple more to each side. You just do your best with this isolation thing. It's not easy to not move your upper and lower body at the same time. Last time. And you come back to center. And then here you're just going to slide your legs behind you and come to hands and knees. To your table pose. Feel free to use your blanket underneath your knees if you need an extra cushion there. Your knees are tender. Shrug your shoulders back and begin to draw some circles with your hips. You can go any direction. It doesn't matter which way. You're just circling. Find a range of motion where maybe you start to feel a little stretch. The most natural, easy part of the circle. Go ahead and switch and circle a few times the other way. About one more circle here. And come back to a neutral position. That's knees underneath the hips, hands underneath the shoulders. Shrug the shoulders back away from the ears. Spread your fingertips nice and wide. Tuck your toes under. Press back through the arches of your feet, and maybe you lift your knees and you come to downward facing dog. As you come to downward facing dog, pedal your feet, lifting and lowering the heels one at a time. Inhale here. And then as you exhale, you'll walk your feet, 4 or 5 little baby steps perhaps up towards the front of your mat. Find a forward fold, make your knees nice and soft so you can drape your belly over your thighs. If you feel congested or leaning all the way forward doesn't feel so good, feel free to prop yourself up a little more on blocks here so the crown of your head reaches more forward. You can use any kind of prop, water bottle as well, works well. You can also rest your hands or your forearms on your thighs if your lower back feels tender today. And just dangle for a few breaths. You can move your head. You can sway a little bit. And when you press the soles of your feet into the floor, on an inhale, lift up halfway, maybe hands to shins or thighs, this time reaching the crown of the head forward. Exhale, release. As you inhale, keep the knees soft, press into the heels of your feet and roll all the way up to the sky. Arms come out and up. Press the palms of your hands together. And as you exhale, bring your hands through the heart and fold back, forward. We're going to stay pretty low today. Inhale. Find a halfway lift. If you're ready, the fingertips can be on the floor. They can still be on the legs. Exhale. Plant the hands down. You're going to step your left foot to the back of the mat. Bring your left knee to the floor. You can untuck your toe or prop a blanket or a piece of mat underneath your knee if you need support back there. Shrug your shoulders back. Lift the center of your chest. You could stay right here. You could lift up a little higher. Hands onto the thigh. Use the hands to press the thigh away from you. Or if you feel kind of into it, you can lift your arms up to the sky. Wherever you are, soften your face. Inhale deeply here. And as you exhale, fold all the way forward. Plant your fingertips to frame your right foot and then pull your hips back. Begin to straighten your right leg. Find a little stretch at the back of that thigh. Now, when I go all the way straight here, I don't feel that stretchy. Maybe I need to wiggle my foot forward or flip my toes up to really feel the back of my right leg. Might be just the opposite. I might not need to go very straight at all. I might even need to place my hands onto my thigh to feel a stretch in the thigh area. Go to the place that feels a little stretchy to you. Again, soften your face. No squinchy upping. Doesn't that feel nicer? When you're ready, you simply rock forward. If you walked your foot really far forward like I did, you might want to scooch it back so you can place your hands under your shoulders and step your right knee back next to your left knee. Spread your fingers nice and wide. Inhale, find your cow pose. Exhale, lift your belly, find your cat pose. 2 more of each. Relax your abdomen as you come through your cow pose. Lift your tail and your gaze. Tuck your tailbone, tuck your gaze down. Lift your belly as you come through your cat. Last set. Inhale. You can still dip your back a little bit. Lift your right leg behind you. Exhale, bring your right knee in towards your nose. Inhale, lift your right leg behind you. Exhale, knee to nose. We'll do a few more. If you feel frisky, you can add the extension of your left arm in addition to your right leg and pull the knee and the elbow to the center line. Last set. Reaching out as you inhale. Bringing everything in, lifting your belly up as you exhale. Inhale, plant the left hand down, reach the right leg out again. And then as you exhale, you're going to take your right knee towards your right elbow, just as far as you can. And then lift that right knee up as high as you can. Hug your left hip towards the midline so you feel your left hip too. And then maybe you can step your right foot to the outside of your right hand. If it doesn't work out perfectly, feel free to tuck your back toe and lift your back knee because that's what we're going to do next anyway. And wiggle that left foot back. And you end up in this long lunge with your foot out to the side. I'd like to angle my right foot to the right, but yours could face straight forward if that feels better. See what you like. Hands to the floor, hands to props. You could use fists here if you need to. See if you can relax your hips down, but maybe lift the center of your chest so you feel a stretch on the whole left side of your body. Shrug your shoulders back. Inhale. And then as you exhale, you're going to lift your hips up again. Rock back. You can soften your left knee. Maybe you can step your left foot to the outside of your left hand. And you're going to feel like an idiot right now. This feels very foolish. You can stay in this kind of high variation of squat, placing your forearms on your thighs, sticking your buns out behind you. You could reach your fingertips a little forward, props or on the floor. This is a spider squat. Or you could drop your hips down between your heels, garland or malasana squat. If that's the case, you can bring your hands in front of your heart if you like. I don't care which squat you do. I want you to feel your hips and your buttocks. Take a few breaths. And then release your hands towards the floor. If you dropped your bum, you're going to need to lift it back up. And then once your legs are just a little bit bent, you'll heel toe your feet in so they are about hip distance apart, facing towards the short edge of your mat. Exhale, find your forward fold. Soften your jaw. Inhale, halfway lift. Hands onto the legs or the floor, your preference. Exhale to release. Inhale, roll all the way up to the sky. As you exhale, you're going to fold all the way forward again. Keep moving ever so slowly and gently. Inhale, halfway lift. As you exhale, step your right foot to the back of the mat. Bring your right knee to the floor. You could walk your fingertips to frame your left foot. That might feel like a perfect spot to be. You can come up a little higher, hands to thigh. If you feel it, go up, arms to sky. See what feels opening, stretchy for the right front side of your body. You can even lean a little forward into that front knee to deepen that stretch if you like. Relax and let go. You can soften your arms. You can even take your arms into cactus if you want to keep this kind of easy peasy. Inhale. As you exhale, fold forward, plant your hands, framing your front foot. Draw your right hip a little back until you feel a stretch in your left leg. Maybe you need to take the foot forward. Maybe you need to flip the toes up. Maybe not. Explore. If you're not sure if you're feeling what is right, I encourage you to close your eyes and really listen to your body. The kind of work that we're going for today is that you feel the stretch, you feel the activation in the muscles of your body, but at the same time, you feel a little relaxed about it. It's like a warm, sunny afternoon. You can let go of the shoulders and the jaw. It's like Saturday afternoon, you know, there's nothing to do on Sunday, so you can just take it a little bit easy. As you inhale, you're going to rock all the way forward. If you walk that left foot really far forward, you might want to walk it a little back so you can place your hands down. And then you're going to take your left knee back next to your right knee. Hands under the shoulders, fingers wide. Inhale, cow pose. Exhale, cat pose. 2 more of each at your own pace. You add the extension of the left leg behind you as you inhale. Left knee to nose as you exhale. Inhale to reach. Exhale to contract. Maybe you like to add the right arm, inhaling. And I'm really only lifting my leg this high because the wall is in my way and I don't feel like moving. So if you're not lifting your leg super high, don't worry about it. Knee to nose, maybe elbow. Maybe one more. Reach the leg out, place the hand down. Inhale here. As you exhale, take the left knee towards the left elbow. It doesn't matter how far it gets. I'd rather that your knee doesn't get really far over the side, but you can hug your right hip in so that your right hip is staying stacked on top of your right knee, then that you touch the knee to the elbow. Lift up, and maybe you can step to the outside of the foot. If it doesn't work so good, go as far as you can, tuck the back toe, wiggle things back, wiggle things forward. And then when you're in this low lunge with your hands on the inside of your left foot is pretty wide out to the left side of your mat. You relax your hips. You do have to do a bit of weight bearing on your hands, so you can always do forearms, and you can prop your forearms up on props if the floor feels a little far away here. It's a good deep hip stretch. If your wrists bother you, don't hesitate to create a fist. That can be a lot more stable. But you want your hips to be a little heavy so you feel, again, the front of your right hip. Shrug your shoulders back. Maybe you can even lift your chest and your gaze here for a deep breath. And then you're going to lift your hips up. Soften your back knee a little bit. Use your hands to help you. And see if you can step your right foot to the outside of your right hand. It might go smoothly, might not. You might lift up to find this horse squat. Might feel quite good. You're stretching into the hips and the lower back here. You can rest your forearms on your thighs. You can go spider, reaching towards the floor. This is one of my favorites. Or you can go Malasana all the way down. Wherever you go, it's just about feeling your hips and your thighs, so you find where you feel them in the best way, the way that feels deep and stretchy, and also a little lazy and easy. And then when you're ready, now release your hands towards the floor. You might have to lift your buns up. Heel toe your feet in so they're comfortable distance apart, facing towards the short edge of the mat, and fold forward. Take a deep breath. Press the heels down, inhale, roll all the way up to the sky. As you exhale, bring your hands down in front of the heart. Take a deep full breath here and just let go again. Feel that kind of melty, sunny afternoon feeling stealing over your body, warming and relaxing every muscle, every tissue, every fiber of your body. When you are ready, open your eyes, take your arms overhead. Press the palms of your hands together and fold forward. Inhale, find halfway lift. As you exhale, you plant your hands underneath your shoulders and you walk, or you step back to your downward facing dog, or you can take your knees right down to your table if you like. Take a few breaths and maybe move around. See what feels good. Is it the kind of gentle movement of rocking the body around, just kind of seeing what you like? Or is it the hold for another probably 5 or 6 breaths of one spot that just feels really deep and beneficial? You get to decide. You're in charge. You're the one who is in your body right now. You're the one who's listening to what your body is saying, or at least I hope you are. It means if you're listening, if you need to change anything in your position, you do so, because you're responding. You're not just listening, you're also interacting. When you're ready, you're going to lower your knees, if you're not already there, to the floor. Walk your hands out in front of your shoulders. Slide your shoulders over your wrists. Shrug your shoulders back, and then lower all the way to the mat. Untuck your toes. Inhale, lift up, and as you lift up, slide your elbows under your shoulders for Sphinx pose. We are going to stay in our Sphinx pose for a little bit of time, so take the time first to get comfortable. If it feels quite good, you can stay in this unsupported variation, elbows under the shoulders, hands flat on the floor, lifting the center of your chest. If you feel like you want a little bit of support, you could bring a pillow or a bolster or a folded up blanket into play, placing that kind of at the base of your rib cage so that as you lie on the prop, your elbows are in front of the bolster, more or less underneath your shoulders. You gotta scooch back a little bit. Take the time, find the spot. If you ate recently, big bolster, not great. But if you haven't, this is a really nice, gentle compression for your abdominal organs to have something a little bit lifting in that area of the body. Shrug your shoulders back, lift the center of your chest, and just enjoy this gentle back bend. I think a lot of the time, gentle gets confused with easy. Like it's not work. Just because it's gentle, it's not putting a lot of, torque or impact onto your body, doesn't mean it's easy to be here. This can get intense as you stay in this back bend. Your work is to keep the intensity level at a place where you feel something happening, something changing in your body, but not let the intensity level get to a place in this class where you are stressing it. You are gritting your jaw, you're clenching your fingers, you're hunching your shoulders in an effort to stay here. That's what the potential use of the prop is about, is to allow you to find that balance point between effort and ease. Another deep, full breath here, especially if you have your belly on a prop. That full breath is just as full as you can make it. And then you can start to relax a little forward. Bring your hands under your shoulders. You're welcome to put them onto your prop if you're using one, and lift yourself back to child's pose. As you come to child's pose, you can come into just a normal child's pose, knees together or knees apart, forehead to the floor. If you're using any kind of prop, you could use a prop underneath your forehead. If you're using a pillow or a long blanket bolster, you can lay your whole torso onto the bolster here in this child's pose and really support yourself. If you happen to have tight ankles or the sitting on the top of your feet hurts, you can take your blanket and place it underneath your feet. A little extra cushion there. If sitting back is not possible, you could place another blanket or your bolster between your hips and your heels. So you have all of these options for props that you can kind of play with. This actually feels fantastic because it gives a little deeper stretch into the shoulders, so the prop underneath the hips and the prop underneath I have mine underneath the tops of my feet and my knees because my knees tend to be tender, but the prop underneath the feet could be just underneath the ankle here as well to keep a little bit of support there. So don't hesitate to adjust things around to give your unique body a nice place to be for another couple breaths. And your work here is to remember to breathe. You're ready. You can start to come out of this one, lifting your head, walking your fingertips in, lifting your hips. And then if you're using any props, you're just going to move them out to the side for a moment and come back to your table pose after you move those props out to the side. Unless you're putting a cushion underneath your knees, you can keep that in your table pose. And then once you're in your table pose, we're going to take a pinwheel shaped pigeon here. This is kind of a more accessible form of pigeon for those of us with really tight hips or with any kind of knee issue. If you have another variation of pigeon in your practice, you're welcome to take that as well. To start in the pinwheel with me, we're going to start by stretching our right hip. So you'll step your left knee behind your left hand. And then you're going to step your right knee right next to your left knee, also behind your left hand. So it's like your knees are standing on a tightrope behind your left wrist. From here, walk your fingertips or your hands over to your right, so the opposite direction of your knees, and drop your right knee to the floor, drop your right hip to the floor. So you're sitting on the outside edge of your right hip. And then you press into your right hand, you lift your left hand, you look over your left shoulder, you take your left knee and you place it somewhere around the area of your right heel to create a pinwheel shape with your legs. Feel free to adjust. Some people have their knees much closer together, some people have their legs quite wide apart. When you find that pinwheel shape, turn back so your heart is facing your front right knee, and that might feel plenty. Maybe you like to fold forward here. I like to take my hands and frame my right knee if I do that option. Another option is to walk back towards the front of the mat, stacking your torso over the midsection of your thigh. You can fold as far forward in any of these positions as feels good to your body. This is a great place, if you're using them, to use a prop. Maybe your hip is tender, so you place a blanket underneath your hip. Maybe you like to have a prop to place underneath your hands. Don't hesitate to adjust and find the spot that works for you. If this feels like it's too much in the hips or the knees, you can always roll onto your back and take your right ankle over the top of your left knee, drawing your left knee perhaps in towards your chest for a reclined pigeon. You're just targeting your outer hips, targeting your IT band attachments so that you feel a lot of space in your lower back. When we finish this, hopefully you'll feel a lot of space in your side waist and the top of your hips. Your glutes as well will feel hopefully so nice after this. And remember, you're listening. Recently started watching Frasier, sitcom from the 90s, and I kind of remember it from syndication when I was maybe in middle school or something, but watching it as an adult is quite amusing. It's about a psychiatrist in Seattle, and he has a phone-in radio show, and his tagline is, "I'm listening." So you can let yourself be a Frasier today. You are listening. And the important thing about listening is not just that you hear what your body is telling you, but that you respond. How does your body know you're listening if what it tells you you ignore? Is that even really listening at the deepest sense? When you listen well, you respond. You change things around as needed. Maybe you need to go deeper. Maybe you went too deep and you need to back off and add a prop. Be honest with yourself. Take another deep breath here. And slowly lift yourself back up. Roll your shoulders away. And if you're lying on your back, you're going to rock yourself over to one side. If you're sitting on the outside of your right hip, what you're just going to do is kind of sit even a little lower, lift your left leg in, and maybe come forward so your legs are facing towards the front of the mat. And then here, again, you might come into those windshield wipers legs a little bit out in front, soles of the feet on the floor, hands behind you. And you sway the knees from side to side a couple of times. And then when you're ready, you can go all the way over to one side. You can swing your feet back behind you and come back to your table. Or, you know, any way that works for you. You don't have to do my way. Take a moment, get yourself set up. And we'll go to that pinwheel pigeon on the other side. Right knee behind the right hand. Left knee behind the right hand. So you're standing on that little tightrope with your knees right behind your right wrist. Walk your hands left away from your knees. Drop your left hip to the floor. So you're sitting on the outside of your left leg. And then lifting your right hand, look over your right shoulder, lift your right leg. You can use your hand to help you. And find that pinwheel shape for your legs. And it's incredibly personal. Again, feel free to cushion your hip. Maybe you just fold forward a little bit diagonally, so heart above the right knee. This can feel really nice. Maybe you need to go further forward, chest back towards the front of the mat. And I'm doing my forearms on the floor because that feels nice, but you might well have your hands on the floor. Some people will have their forehead on the floor. You might go over onto your back. On this side, it is left ankle over the top of the right knee as you hug perhaps the knees into the chest. And again, say to yourself, I'm listening. And then actually listen to your body. What are your hips telling you? What are your knees telling you? What do your shoulders have to say today, or your jaw? And when they tell you things, hear what they have to say and use what they have to say to help you in where to go next in your pose. Deeper, shallower, just a general adjustment, a lift of your hip or a twitch of your feet. I think it's far preferable to make a little adjustment so that your pose feels really beneficial and really good for your body, maybe intense but good, than to suffer silently for literally absolutely no reason. Chances are you're pretty alone right now. I can't see you. You can do anything. It's very freeing, the idea that people are not able to see you. And you can do exactly what you need to do and not worry about it. It's probably the best thing about practicing virtually. Who cares if your pinwheel looks more like a stacked knee? Does it feel good and stretchy? Do you feel your outer hip? Who cares that you were on your back on one side and now you're facing forwards? I certainly don't. You should only care that it feels like something is happening. Shift in your body, shift in your energy. Take another nice deep breath here. And gently begin to bring yourself out again. If you're lying on your back, you can uncross your legs and rock yourself to one side. If you're facing forward, you can kind of rock yourself a little more onto that left hip and take your right leg around and come all the way forward. And maybe you'd like to take some windshield wipers again. Maybe you just like to extend your legs in front of you and rotate your ankles gently, or flex and point your toes. Here, if you would like to use a prop, you will want to have one handy. We're going to take a bridge and then a supported bridge. If the prop that you have is a bolster or a pillow, you can set that item underneath your knees here and then use it in a moment. If that prop is a blanket or a yoga block, you can fold your blanket until it's about 3 to 4 inches thick. You could also use a small couch cushion for this, like a throw pillow would be a really nice option. You can set that next to your hips. Either way, you're going to sit in the middle of your mat with your feet tented and roll yourself slowly to the floor. Extend your arms or hold behind your thighs and go again one vertebrae at a time. All the way down to the mat. Once you've laid yourself down, you can use your heels to snuggle your prop closer to you if you are using one underneath, or you can grab your prop and just make sure that it's right next to your hip. Press your heels down, lift your hips up. Hold here for 2 or 3 breaths. Lift your belly button up towards the ceiling. Press your heels into the floor. You're welcome to press your hands into the floor here as well to create extra traction. As you do that, see if you can relax your shoulder blades. Press into your big toe mounds. Inhale one more time. And then as you exhale, you draw a prop if you're using one underneath your tailbone, and you lower your hips onto it. And maybe you stay right here. Maybe you extend one or both legs down to the end of the mat. And this works with something underneath your hips or not. Maybe you take your arms up overhead so you feel a deep stretch at the front of your body. Again, allow yourself to let go. Take another full deep breath here. And if you extended your legs long, draw the soles of your feet back in. If you took your arms overhead, bring the hands back down by your side. Press into your heels, lift your hips. If you had a prop under there, slide it out to the side. And then lower the hips all the way to the floor. Take your feet a little wider than your hips. Maybe let your knees knock in towards one another. Reach your arms up to the sky. And cross your right arm in front of your left arm. Wrap your arms around yourself. Give yourself a nice big hug. Maybe give yourself that little massage on your shoulder blades or your upper back. Reach your arms up. Cross your left arm on top of your right. Give yourself a big hug. You can stay as you are with the feet, or you can go the other direction. Feet together, knees open, like we were doing seated earlier. You have to move your props out of the way. Open up your arms. You can use your hands to help gather your knees in. Take your feet about hip distance apart. And then take your knees over to the right. Spread your arms out to the sides. If this feels good, stay here. If you want more, you can take your right ankle over the top of your left knee and go a little deeper. If it doesn't feel quite right in either of those positions, feel free to adjust. You could stack your knees or go back to the beginning of class, one leg long, one leg bent. You want to just feel again like, oh, you're just releasing hips, belly, chest, and shoulders. When you're ready, you can unstack if you're stacking. Bring the knees back to the center and go the other way. And again, you find your variation. Maybe just knees wide. Maybe stacking the left ankle on the right outer knee area. Maybe it's something totally different. And it's, again, totally fine. I'm going to do a different variation on this side because this side feels different. It feels like it needs something different to feel good in my hips. That stacking of the knee did not feel so good in my hips over to the left. So why would I do it? That's part of the beauty of listening. It's not that you're like, oh, it's too hard, I'm not going to do it over here. It's that it doesn't feel right for my body. It feels kind of yucky. Why would I do something that feels yucky? When you're ready, bring your knees back to the center line. Now go ahead and hug them as you're ready in towards your chest. Give yourself a little rock from side to side. If you're using no props or you don't want to use any props for your Shavasana, you could simply extend your arms and your legs long here and rest. If you'd like to use props for your Shavasana, I might suggest that you take a supported back bend, taking either your stack of pillows or your bolster, or you can use a folded up blanket that's even back to the back of your mat here. And you can lie yourself back, snuggling your hips against that support. Let your arms open out to the side. If you have an extra blanket, you can place it underneath your neck, or you could pull it over your legs, stick your arms out to the sides. Keep your knees tented. Take your legs long. Soles of the feet together. And of course, if there's a different way that you want to orient your props, why not? Again, pick what feels really good for your unique body. Use accessories and props in your yoga practice to enhance the benefits, enhance what feels good. They're not cheats, they're not modifications even. It's just you are using tools, like using a power drill instead of a screwdriver. One might be superior to the other in different applications. Neither one is cheating. You could screw the screw into the wall by your, with your bare hands. It's probably not going to go well. Using some kind of tool, some kind of prop can make things a lot more doable, a lot more possible, a lot more fun and comfortable. Think of your props as your accessories, your tools, your friends, something that's there to support and assist and help you in feeling better. As you find your resting place again, let go. Take a deep breath in. And as you breathe out anything that came before this point, release it. Deep breath in. And exhale. Let it go. One more time. Inhale and let go. Exhale. Release. As usual, I encourage you to stay longer in your Shavasana if you can. This is so beneficial for your body. It is time to move on with your day. Take a deep breath in. And one more big sigh out. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. And as you're ready, make your way over to one side to rest for a few breaths. before coming to your most comfortable seat this evening. As you arrive in your seat, bring your hands in front of your heart. We'll close with our deep breath together, in through the nose if possible. Big sigh out of the mouth. On 3. 1, 2, 3. Namaste. Thank you for sharing your practice and your time with me. I hope your body feels better than it did an hour ago. Have a wonderful rest of your day.